story I'm telling starts in New York City in 2013. It's February. And my friend and at times spiritual mentor, Aaron Bell, gives me a phone call, some of you know him, to invite me to come play some pickup the following Saturday. And I'm on the phone with him. I'm like, Bell, no. My life is terrible right now. I am knee deep in my thesis. My girlfriend of 2.5 years just dumped me. It hasn't stopped snowing since December, and I'm miserable. I do not want to complain. Ultimately, he goes, Schwartz, listen, it'll be good for you. Come out, play, run your legs around. Just put your woes away for a while. So I give him a definite maybe, which in my mind is a firm no, and just move on. Well, the appointed Saturday comes about, and it is beautiful. The sun is shining for the first time in what seems like months. It's above freezing, so I decide to put on my clothes, put the thesis away for a while, put my heartbreak in the cupboard, and just go and play some Frisbee. So I'm living on 120th and Broadway at the time, and the fields are down on 107th and Riverside. And this is important because on your jog there, you can't really see the fields until you're on top of them. And so I'm jogging there trying to, break off the rust and, get to the top of the stairs. And I'm expecting to look down and see, 10, maybe 15 dudes warming up, ready to play some ultimate. What I see is about 150 men, all wearing their nice Frisbee gear, looking fresh, making good throws, doing very impressive things, warming up. All the things I'm not personally ready for. And so I kind of look around, I'm walking down the stairs, I see a couple familiar faces, but most that I don't, and just trying to figure out what's going on. I'm looking at my phone, all right, 107th Street Fields, no Aaron Bell, 11:30, what's going on? And I walk towards the bags. Where everyone's kind of congregating. And as I'm making my way there, this large, impressive man with a clipboard walks up to me. He goes, I'll take your $50. $50? Yeah, your $50 tryout fee. Tryouts? Yeah, tryouts for the New York Empire, the new professional ultimate Frisbee team here in New York City. This is a tryout for that. Aaron Bell told me that this was a pickup game. So let me tell you a little bit about Aaron Bell. Some of you have known him. He's a presence, you could say, in the Frisbee community. Trickster, as he might be described as. Almost mythologized to a sense, like the next gen bus tour, the ones that takes all the badass college Frisbee players around the country, is named the Spirit of Aaron Bell. He's just he's one of those presences in the world. I met Aaron when I was a freshman at PLU, Pacific Lutheran, just up the road here in Tacoma, Washington. And I met him, my friend Jason Schaefer took me out to go throw around, and I was like, all right, I'll go play Frisbee, it's nice out. And I meet the guy, and I'm shaking his hand. I'll never forget this. I'm shaking his hand, and somebody shorts a throw to us. And so I kind of just step on it to stop the disc. And a look of such horror came onto his face, like I just slapped his mother. And he's like, hey man, that hurts the disc. So I came to PLU not to play Frisbee. I came to play basketball, and I certainly didn't come to play Frisbee with people who felt that way about plastic. And yet 3 weeks later, I found myself in a car down to Chico, California for my first Frisbee tournament. And I was in basketball shape, which means that you go for about 2 or 3 hours super hard, and then you're done. Frisbee, the first day you go hard for about 7 hours. The next day you go hard for about 5 if you're lucky. The fact that I wasn't up to speed with Frisbee shape became abundantly clear around the third game when my body decided to put itself on the struggle bus. So I know I'm feeling bad, something's wrong, but you're 18, so I can take over the world. So I'm just like, I just need some food and water. So in rapid succession, I ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a banana, and a Nalgene full of water, thinking that this will solve the problem. That was my first mistake. My second mistake was not stopping playing Frisbee after I threw up for the first time. My third mistake was not stopping after I threw up the second time. Now, my fourth mistake might have been avoided if Tad Jensen, who I went to college with and plays for the Stags now, didn't run up to me and be like, "Schwartz, you're playing great." You go get another D and I'm buying you a six-pack. Which I didn't drink at the time, but I wanted that six-pack. And so I went back out on the field to make that fourth fatal mistake where I passed out on the fields. Now I don't really remember, say, the next period of time. I do recall vaguely that I was lifted off the fields and carried off into some shade, where the PT for the tournament, in his ineffable wisdom, chose not to send me to the hospital, but rather recommended I lay in the shade and just get little sips of water. Which, if you've ever recovered, say, from heat stroke, means that you take in a little water and then you throw up everything you've ever known. Which is bad enough, but it becomes infinitely worse if the person that you're retching on happens to be the girl that you're in love with. Why Carolyn was at this tournament, I don't know. But I do know that I've never been so embarrassed. So despite the fact that I almost died and the fact that I threw up all over the love of my freshman year life, I never stopped playing Frisbee. Because I found in that tournament and with those people, kind of my tribe, the people who got me and I got them, it just made sense. And so I stuck with it all through college. And even after college, I kind of flirted with playing. Like, I thought about playing with Rhino a couple times, but then this cool girl came along, so I had to move to North Dakota. And then, like, Fargo's a great place, trust me. Another year, like, I decided to go play around in Peru during the season. So it's just like Frisbee, as much as I loved it and as much as I loved my friends, was always kind of secondary. And as much as I loved to do the travel, another thing that kind of kept me from being rooted in one place is I just had this like boiling cauldron of like existential doubt and wonder about the world and kind of why I'm in it and why do people suffer. And after a while of just not being able to answer those questions anymore on my own, try as I might, I figured I needed to go somewhere. So I decided to move to New York City to go to divinity school at this place called Union Theological Seminary. And my plan was to go there, I'd like do grad school, like I'd meet some cool girl, like I'd do city things. It was all gonna work out and be awesome. That didn't happen. It turns out that New York is kind of like a panic attack that doesn't ever stop. Like, if you've been there, you know, you kind of just see and hear and experience things that you never really want to, especially on the subway around like 1 a.m. And it's busy. And so for a person who has anxiety issues already, kind of kicked me in the ass. Second, seminary is one of those spots that isn't great for like making you feel good about life. Union in general, it kind of like takes all your preconceived notions about the world or God or anything else and just casts them asunder. And so that 1-2 punch really made my first 6 months in New York probably the worst of my life. And there was always this phrase I love. His name's James Cone. He's a Black liberation theologian, the father of Black liberation theology. And what I love about this guy is Union, you know, it'll kind of break you down, as will New York, but then they're there to help build you back up and make you think about all the questions that you came in with. And Cone, he's this guy, he's like 5'8", you know, he's got this really high-pitched, gravelly voice that I'll spare you. But his lesson is always, you gotta struggle, you gotta wrestle. If the things you want to do in life really matter, you need to wrestle with them to get where you're going. And so I took that to heart. And so while I had to say goodbye to my ultimate community, I had to tell Aaron, who I was like trying out for Pony, the team back there in New York, I was like, Belle, I just can't do it. Like, this is impossible. So I excised that out of my life, and I went hard after kind of the social justice and the struggle and the wrestling. And that wrestling took me to be an organizer at Occupy Wall Street. It took me to being a youth rep at the United Nations, and just got to do all these cool experiences and meet amazing people. And yet this fundamental chunk of my life that I'd known for 10 years as an Ultimate player since college kind of went away. And when you lose something like that, you never know until you're in a spot where the vacancy in your life and the vacancy in your community becomes all the clearer. And that for me was that February, where all my friends were in a similar position with their thesis. The woman in my life who I depended on so much was gone. And I felt this just poverty and vacancy within myself. Then I was wondering, how can I find my community to help get me through to this next leap? And when I was on those fields, I couldn't have articulated that to you when this large, imposing man, who I came to know as Tom, was asking me for $50, but I knew I couldn't say no. So I reached into my pocket and found like the $14 that I might have had, with the promise of an IOU that I never fulfilled because grad school. And I gave him my money, and I started the process of trying out, and that is a story of how I was tricked into becoming a professional Ultimate Frisbee player.